Good morning. It's Friday. We've gotten here. Now, continuing with the Mage 101 series, and also filming in 3D for those who want to check it out that way. This morning we have Paradox. Now, I've mentioned a couple terms in the previous videos. Vulgar magic, coincidental magic, but I haven't really explained them. Today I'm going to. Now, coincidental and vulgar are terms that we use in our everyday lives. Maybe not every day anymore, simply because they're maybe a little bit out of fashion. But we understand them. A coincidence is something that happens that may be a little bit odd, but is not especially. Hey, I watched so-and-so TV series last night. Oh, what a coincidence. I did too. Okay? Out of all of the possible things that that person you're talking to could have watched, they watched the same thing you did. That's a coincidence. It is statistically not the major chance, but it's well within the realm of possibility. It's not too big of a surprise. Now, vulgar. Vulgar is a very different term. Vulgar is normally something that is out of place. Something that should not be, or is against the norm. You know, if you walk into a church and start talking about porn, that's vulgar. It's out of place. It is something that would shock people in attendance. The same thing applies to magic. If a spell is coincidental, then it could happen. Sorry about that. My 3D camera failed spectacularly and stopped the regular camera as well. So, I kept talking for 5 minutes before I realized that happened. But I did stop and get some breakfast, so bonus. Now then, where were we? Yes, coincidental magic. If the common person sees what's going on and would believe it's something other than magic, that's coincidental. If the average person saw what you were doing and their mind would reject it, if they would have no possible explanation other than it's magic, that's vulgar. That is reality that breaks the norm. In the example I used previous, like I said, a tradition mage waves their fingers and throws a lightning bolt from their hand. That's vulgar. No one's going to believe that a person could wave their fingers and throw a lightning bolt from their hand. But the technocracy mage uses a gun. The passerby looks at it and says, well, I've never seen a gun like that before, but I've seen them in movies, and it kind of makes sense, so that's really cool. Where'd you get that? The common person believes that although it's not common, it's not normal, it's within the realm of possibility that a gun could shoot a lightning bolt. Because of that, it's coincidental. Now, the problem you do run into is that you have to bear in mind that if a person's mind, if if a sleeper's mind would reject the effect, if the effect would be vulgar, then it is vulgar, even if there are no witnesses. You could be out in the middle of nowhere, minding your own business. You cast a lightning bolt, and it is still vulgar magic. Because reality knows if someone saw that, they would reject it. Now, why does it matter? Does it really matter why something is coincidental and something is vulgar? Yes. Wholly and completely, yes. Why? Because of this little thing called paradox. Now, paradox, as you may well know, is a term that means something which should not be. And the way that reality paradox works is that it enforces the consensus of reality. Now, in Mage, we know that reality is not some static thing that never changes. Reality is formed by the consensus belief of all things in reality. In effect, if enough people believe something, it becomes true. This is why the technocracy has the edge. The technocracy has spent over 100 years convincing people that science works. And having convinced everyone that science works and that they are doing science, not magic, most of their effects have become coincidental over time. I don't like it when trucks decide to cut me off. So most of their effects have become coincidental. A lot of things that used to be magic have actually now become non-magical because the consensus believes in them to the point that they just work. You know, the ATM, the telephone, the computer, all of these things work because everyone believes they work. There was a time when computers didn't work. You know, we tried to build them and they failed. Why? Because the belief in them was not strong enough yet. The quote from Thor actually works both ways. Any sufficiently advanced technology appears as magic. Well, it works the other way, though. It also works in that if something is sufficiently magical, it can be explained by technology, at least in the world of Mage. Now, what does paradox actually do? That depends. It's actually described in one of the books as a little bit like Thunderdome. Two realities enter, one reality leaves, and if your reality isn't the one that wins, you're in for a world of hurt. Paradox can be a minor thing. You take a little bit of damage, or an odd kind of aura of creepiness settles around you and no one wants to be around you. Or it could be bigger things. There are places called reality jails where paradox spirits drag people away and force them outside of the consensual reality. Basically, if you're not going to fit with us, you're not going to be here with us. It could also cause mages to enter what is referred to as quiet, which is basically a semi-sane, lobotomized state where they can't function properly. Paradox is a bitch. But as long as you work coincidental magic, you don't have to worry about it. Now, the other thing that's worth mentioning is that coincidental magic is not the same everywhere. If you go into the middle of New York City and fire off a laser gun, okay, fine, yeah, that's weird, but it's New York, it's weird. Sure, it's a fancy gun, whatever. If you go into a third world village in bumfuck nowhere, where people don't even know what running water is, and you fire off that same laser gun, that's vulgar there. So you have to bear that in mind. Anyway, that's coincidental and vulgar magic. That's paradox. And that's going to be me done for the day. Like, subscribe. I'll probably be back this afternoon. I've got loads of note cards with different stories that I want to talk about on here. And, yeah, I'll see you later.